which might make it a bit harder to gauge. And the first pull goes up. It's a big one, and it arcs, landing pretty centrally in the end zone. So we have Gaul and an unfortunate bobbling of the disc there. You could see the wind just kind of pushed it away from the receiving hand. So man down have a chance to take a break to start the game.
Yeah, Kuka clearly had a position where he expected this to be, and you could really see it vary in the air.
And we can tell you about the wind all we like, but there's no better way of finding out about it than just seeing it on stream. And as you can clearly see, it is doing things to the disc that the players do not want it to do.
What's that great directorial trick? Show, don't tell.
There we go. So, shot very close to the end zone, and defender just on the wrong side, perhaps a bit of miscommunication rather with the mark, and that is a hold for Gaul.
Nice, good start for them, because we mentioned how in that game against Flash they kind of were up against it a little bit early and they couldn't peg their way back into the game. So building up a lead, even if it's just 1 point, a couple of points, you know, it's a big confidence booster. You feel a bit less apprehensive about the rest of the game.
Oh, certainly.
And they pick themselves up from that, you know, that unfortunate throwaway early on. I'm just seeing it again here. Yeah, both players caught on the same side, and it's a comfortable throw in the end from Damley. Why not? And that's why tournaments like this are great, because you know the players are just here because they just love the sport and they love playing it with their friends.
Very bladey flick pull going up to man down. So we've got looks like a kind of two-hander set, although there's a lot of switching with the cutters upfield. Stewart on disc, fakes the low IO, back round to Pletcher. Oh, and a fantastic bid from Stewart there. Really kind of full extension, both hands outstretched, but unfortunately couldn't quite snag the disc.
Continuation cutters to free themselves up downfield, just lacked the precision on the scoring pass.
So Gaul on the opposite end zone line. Looking deep. And unfortunately, I think the cutter had already turned to come under. So Pletcher on disc. Nice inside shot to Goldsmith. Swings to Schaff. And a nice floaty score to LeBonge there, who high-fives his teammate. Again, it looks like either there's miscommunication with the defense, or he's just able to kind of get that separation, get behind his player's back to get open.
I think the key here was there was an up line cut that came on this near sideline. The force spotted it and came over quite a way to prevent the handler getting the disc in the power position. And actually, credit to man down, because they spotted that, pivoted out, swinging it across the disc, and then the continuation to the break side for the goal is, you know, it's smart ultimate, which is what you'd expect.
Very much catch some Z's and some Rays.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, everyone, there's plenty of time after this game for that.
So that pull looks like it's not going to come back in, landing just outside the orange tape. So no brick has been signalled.
I think they're just maybe working with whether they do want to brick it, and I think that is where they are striding.
Is a brick. So a deep cut goes immediately. It's coming back under. Oh, and just looked like it slipped out of the hand there. Maybe a bit of sand on it. So very close to the end zone, man down, knocking on the door. Oh, fakes the push pass. Little backhand. And in all the confusion, finds the score. I think that was Tolchin.
And it's a break for 2-1 as well.
Yes, absolutely.
The problem they had there was that it was all very congested by the handler, and you know, when you've got a lot of players there, A, you're getting in each other's way, and B, you're attracting a lot of defenders into that space. Compare that to the offense for man down, where they have that, you know, a bit more separation and a bit more space, and everything's looking just a little bit easier for them.
I mean, it's so sometimes the same team can have, you know, very beautiful end zone offense, and then other times everyone just sort of panics a bit and rushes around.
In play, you may notice those Eurodisc flags in the background as well, rippling in the wind.
So it's a low pull, headed towards the ankles of the Gaul team. Stechbart swings round. Oh, and a nice upfield look to Wiedemann. Back to Stechbart. Lots of nice handler movement, swinging it around this mark, but unfortunately the wind is going to try and take that long shot and push it out of bounds.
Yeah, showed way too much of that to the wind, and you could see it was never really in danger for man down of being caught. So they're now getting an opportunity to get another break with Pletcher bringing the disc in.
Very loud up call there. So we've got Schaff on disc. Back to Stewart. And that is Ivashko on disc, one of the only women on this team. This being open, of course, women can also participate. Schwartz swings back to Stewart, surveying his options. Lovely inside break to Ivashko, and a beautiful break to Schaff for the score, and some really nice fluid offense from man down there.
Again, it's that break side continuation. Before they've had a lot of success with the around break. This time it's the inside flick, but it's right on point, and Ivashko looks tough. And the timing of the cuts in the end zone is good because they're not coming too early, which means you're looking downfield, the cuts already happen, the defender's already there, and that means you have to wait for them to get out of the space and maybe get another opportunity. They're timing the cuts late enough so they can put the throws out onto space and leave the receiver a little bit.
And I think the defense is just not really expecting those kind of throws to go, almost.
Yeah, after a slightly shaky first.
Hit the bell, hit the like button, do all of the things.
All of the things that people tell me that you should do, but you are your own person and we can't force you, but we do appreciate it when you do.
Excellent point. So we've got quite nice spacing from Gaul here. Cutters maintaining separation from the handlers. Oh, there we go. Kuka manages to snag a disc potentially intended for someone else.
Visionary.
And Damley forcing Disla to make a diving catch. Oh, and that's going to bounce off the hands. But Wang seemingly owning up to a foul. Excellent spirit on display there. So uncontested foul on Fritz.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to miss Wang, are you, with that bright orange bucket hat?
No, definitely not.
It is a look, I think is what they call it.
Oh, so Disla in a bit of trouble. Oh, finds Damley. And Damley, another nice inside shot to Kuka. And that is 3-2, 2-man down.
That was the connection they had for the first goal, and they do it again for the second, just running it back. We saw that inside flick, if you've got the execution with it, can be a very dangerous throw, just scything its way through the wind. Comes into play again once more. The defence was close, the forces were tight. Maybe you could say sometimes the defence was a little bit too close.
Yeah, a little bit of touchy-feely going on there.
But
it's getting a little close.
The throw goes out nice and early, and it's sitting there for the receiver to run onto. And obviously, the defender's sitting on the open.
It's a risk.
Yeah, and so if they do get those throws out, then we're going to put pressure on them so they are floaty or fluttery or wobbly, and it's not going to be the easy completion that the offense would like.
And that was a fantastically uncatchable pull from Gaul there. Incredibly, basically a flick blade. So man down, working it upfield, lots of short passes, and a pick is called on the play. So a disc will go back.
Can I say the phrase?
You can say the phrase.
Suspiciously open. It's usually the sign of the pick.
There we've got Schaff. Back to Smith. Lots of nice short passes, keeping the stall count low. Steps out wide. Oh, very nice milking for the score. I don't think any pass was more than about 4 or 5 meters there.
No, and the nice presence of mind there in the field awareness to say, actually, there isn't a defender that's really close. So I can just tease this one out a little bit there. And eventually the pop into the end zone for the score to restore the 2-point advantage for man down. And 4-2. I think that's right. I trust the scoreboard.
Yeah, the scoreboard on the other side of the field you may be able to see is a rather unique one.
Yeah, kind of a vertical standing scoreboard, and they've got like arrows on either side that kind of move up the pole. It's an interesting little idea, actually. There's Stewart kind of milking that one a little bit. Just like decides that, okay, that's long enough. I don't want to risk it any further. draw the defender over towards the far side, and then it's the around more than the inside in that direction, for example, so that they're kind of throwing it right into the teeth of the wind. Are we going to maybe, rather than go one-on-one downfield, are we going to surround, so we've got a player sitting on that break side?
Certainly, and that was a lovely pull from Meli Wasco, who almost gets the D there on Michla, who will swing it. That's a very lovely upwind swing. Gaul looking really solid this point. Very pinpoint throws, looks like they're really sitting into the wind, getting lots of spin on the disc. Oh, but that's an unfortunate miscommunication. Fritz was already up the line when the throw went, and man down, storming up the pitch.
I mean, it was just straight into the palms of Tulchin. I don't think he could believe his luck.
Yes. So about brick mark level now. They've got one in the end zone, everyone else filtering through. Goldsmith on disc, swings to lacrosse. Just a foot away from the end zone now, still moving the disc very quickly, and that's a cheeky little pop from Tulchin over the shoulder of his mark, and man down will extend their lead.
Drew Shapiro with the goal in the end. That's got, oh no, I was nearly made a really bad unintentional pun. I was going to say this, we've got to be galling for, and then I realised, yeah, it's got to be gutting, because their offense looks so smooth for 90% of the field, and just when they go into the red zone, it's not even like they tried a risky pass. The swing should have been you feel like it's a good fundamental option, but just the handler had already cleared out. There's a miscommunication, and that offense on the turn was so silky smooth from man down, and that's what good teams do. Is you give them an outside opportunity, and they take it.
They don't waste.
There's a bigger master scene kind of for masters, grandmasters, and great grandmasters all in the US. Like, there are more tournaments to go to because it's a larger player base, and therefore you have the ability to host more tournaments, whereas in Europe you don't necessarily have that.
That disc has gone very, very far, and the puller receiving a little bit of heckling from his teammates.
Which
very classic diamond cutting pattern, but instead dumps off to Plantz, who puts up a nice floaty shot, but it's going to be contested. Oh, and will be a foul call.
So they're discussing A, whether there was a foul, and B, over will stand. I think that's my reading of it.
Yeah, I would agree. So we've got Smith picking up, vertical stack look, Wang immediately going deep, but that's a really nice shot across the field. Oh, had me going for a second there. I thought that was gone.
Convincing fake.
Bendix unfortunately can't connect with Wang. We've got Protso picking up again. And a nice shot to Podolski. Not sure where his defender was. Dumps back. Nice swing across to, I believe that's Wiedemann.
It looks like Colin Smith, the number 42 for man down, especially, is poaching off on the handlers, just trying to clog those lanes downfield and force them to make the lateral passes.
Good on Gaul for Gaul for just taking those open passes, keeping the disc moving. Big force from Wang here. Oh, and a shot to the end zone. It's going to be too far for Wiedemann. Down a lot sooner. So man down in their vertical stack, running their sideline play. Nice swing to Smith.
I like that there was a clear intent to isolate the reset, really square the hips and get the disc off the sideline.
So Wang trapped on that downwind sideline, very hard to get out of it. Manages a nice break off to Smith. Oh, and a lovely shot. Oh, but tipped away by Plantz, able to just bop it over the head of the man down player, Joe Bendix.
I thought for a minute after he touched it that, oh no, this is going to be one of those scenarios where I have to shout at someone to catch their Ds. But evidently he did get enough on the disc to divert the flight path, especially when the wind is like this as well. If you can really take the sting and take the spin off the disc as well, then all of a sudden it doesn't have those revolutions to hold the shape, and you've no idea where it could end up, and that's
on their kit. So kind of like an old, a nag, I suppose, would be the English version of it.
Yeah,
so they like the name. They seem to enjoy it. So all those who say that Germans don't have a sense of humour disapprove.
I think it's just a different sense of humour.
Well, they had a whole Monty Python special in German.
Yeah.
Some exclusive sketches. Anyway, Frötschel has the disc. Looks like Gaul is setting up in a vertical stack, man down, poaching very heavily off the dump. And they've got the first pass off, so it's not a time over, but the second pass is. I don't know whether we count that as one.
I'd count that. Again, we mentioned that Smith was sagging off the handlers to clutter that space downfield, and he did it again there.
Well, it's bounced off the hands of Bendix, so... Oh, and gosh, the wind is just making this disc so hard to catch. I think it's really zinging in and out of these players' hands. So we've got man down with another chance. And Bendix, unfortunately, again, cannot keep his hands on the disc, or the disc in his hands.
I don't know what he's got on those gloves, but it doesn't seem to be working.
No, maybe some of that olive oil from yesterday has
Well, exactly.
sneaked on. Or sun cream, potentially. Although why you would be putting on sun cream with gloved hands is a mystery.
Actually, that maybe is why he's wearing gloved hands, because you do get, it does, especially in these conditions, you have to wear sunscreen. And, yeah, it does get your hands all kind of horrible and clammy, and, yeah, gloves actually not a bad idea in that scenario.
Man down seeming to have set up a zone. Oh gosh, that's a physical bit. Setting up a zone, but and it's these passes. It should be easy, There's no defender on the player. They're quite close to you, so you think, oh, I'm just going to throw this disc. And the wind has other ideas.
Yeah, maybe they're rushing a little bit. Maybe guilty of looking at the next pass before it's properly secured. Watched all the way into the clutches.
So man down. Oh, fakes the IO. Breaks round instead. Dumps back to Seal. Barney, sends it. Family, really, isn't it?
Certainly you hope so.
So Frötschel picking up once more. Man down, I think switching back to match. And Gaul trying to just stick with these really short passes, trying to make the continuations as easy as possible. Man down are still utilising their zone, forcing lots of small passes. On the far sideline now, in theory the easier sideline to throw from. And Frötschel can't quite keep a hold on that one.
Full credit to Wang there, because he nipped in behind, just caught the receiver on his heels slightly. That's, I think, is the hooter for the half-time. So we will finish this point, add one to that for a half-time score cap. God, that's loud, isn't it now?
It is very loud. This is an electronic blaring noise to signal. Oh, and that is a lovely leading pass to Wang. And it looks like it's going to be called in. So the birthday boy gets a score, which means that we will have half at 7, no matter what.
Happy birthday, Cal Wang. That's a good little confidence booster for a birthday present, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Just sees the cut, sits the throw nicely out into space for Wang to run onto. Doesn't even need to break stride, and it's now 6-2 to the Americans.
I wonder if there's a version of, there's the honey pass, which is, looking up other people to throw to your partner. If there's a birthday version of that, where you just want your birthday boy or girl to, or person to...
What, like the cake pass?
The cake pass! Well done. They dent the confidence a bit and think, oh, I'm not sure if I have this huck in these conditions.
And don't get me wrong, these are testing conditions.
They certainly are.
It's a lot easier to say, tell people how to do it sitting here in the booth than it is out there on the field.
So we'll have the Gaul O-line. And there we go, we were talking about sending it. Oh, but it's just too far out in front for... He has had some spectacular ones this tournament. So we've got Pletcher walking it up to the end zone line, and the deep cut goes, but he's dumped it back.
Sensible, if boring.
Yes. So just a bit of handler movement, gets it upfield to LeBonge. Nice shot through the middle to Reardon. And again, they're doing this very quick kind of give and go, up the line, bouncing back. It's working very well for them. But a call.
A pick, I think, as he's coming across to the open side. The players are clearing through, and just the defender has to hold up for a second.
Sounds good. And another nice up the line cut, gaining a few yards. And a lovely shot that's LeBonge getting free in the end zone and able to... Oh, is that going to come back in? Yes, it is. And just as you exactly said, you can't catch it and it's rolled back. So Frötschel taking a little bit of time to get to the mark. We've got Tolchin on the disc. To lacrosse, taps it in, doesn't need to do that. We're not in the USA.
Yes.
Oh, and a very free cut. And, oh, but it's going to be just too far out in. So Mandan sticking with their poach in the lane. Frötschel puts up a nice IO huck, but it's not going to go as far as I think he intended. So Mandan will have the disc on the far sideline.
You can see what he's trying to do there, but just didn't get enough spin to keep it, hold that shape.
Yeah, so we've got Tolchin on the sideline. Keeping it on the sideline to Smith, who puts up a nice shot, and it's caught by Matt Schaff.
That's wonderful, that. Just threading the needle, finding that little window and sweeping that flick through the channel for the goal. Very
nicely in the bread basket, Schaff only having to crouch over slightly to get it, receive it very safely in the chest.
And that'll be pleasing for Smith after, you know, he might have felt that he left something out there on the deep reception, so still gets himself on the stat sheet, but with an assist rather than a goal. Let me put my teeth back in.
Schaff jogging past us now. Just gorgeous peaks.
I mean, it is a. I have not really. I've commentated, fortunately, in a fair few places now. This is certainly one of the more spectacular, I think.
It is. It's not a view to be sniffed at. So Gaul, reeling in a high disc there.
Disla made that look a lot easier than it was, because that was some reception.
They're just working it around the back now. Seems like they're maybe getting used to this man-down zone as they thread it through the middle to Knoblauch. Oh, and it's a grandad backhand that's completed. Back to Knoblauch. Not looking super happy about that, but there we go. Gets it off to Disla, who sends a lovely floaty shot, but unfortunately it's snagged by Lebonge, who gets it going immediately to Owasco, and they're off to the races. Slowing down a bit, back to Owasco.
An injury, I think, for Knoblauch.
Oh no, gosh. Someone give him a hand.
Cramp, maybe, or he's just tweaked a calf around the, just around his teammates to get off the pitch, so I think he'll probably make his way over to the physio area and try and fix that problem.
Oh, incredible defensive attempt, but reeled in. So man down. Round about the brick mark. Goes to his knees to complete the pass. We've got some movement at the start of the end zone, and Lebonge able to get free. So tall, and I think probably able to get some quite good acceleration off the front of the stack into space.
I think it's a pick. And
there we go.
Yeah, just it was interesting because we had Owasco going break side from the front of the stack, and then Lebonge going towards the near open side, and I was expecting the defenders perhaps to switch and take those players, and they crossed over each other a little bit, and that's what helped to create the pick.
We've got Joey Stewart on the disc. A lot of players at the front of the end zone here, and not a lot of movement. Lebonge heads to the open side once more, isn't free. Oh, and just slips out of his hands. He's got the same curse as earlier with the gloves.
He looks at his hands a little bit like, why have you betrayed me?
At least he immediately gets on D. I can't stand it when players just have a little moment.
You've got to have that almost goldfish memory. I know that goldfish have better memories than that. That's a bit and a half, really, isn't it?
Gantz sort of yelling with frustration as he hits the sand without the disc in it.
But yeah, you know, after you make a mistake, you've got to be like, that's fine, we'll just get back and try and do my job again.
Now Wasco gets to her knees to receive that disc, looking for a dump, but it's a stall out. It looks like it's going to be uncontested. So you've got Weidemann on the force. Oh, and that's a lovely break. They didn't go for any of the options that we suggested. It almost seems like they know what they're doing.
It's disappointing.
And a pick called. Once again, that quite congested front of the end zone.
Yeah, I'd like to see them utilise the depth of the end zone a little bit more.
So they've got Owasco back on the disc. Immediately swings to Goldsmith. Back to Owasco. Another nice swing, and LeBonge, menace in the end zone that he is, reels in another score for man down.
Good goal scorer, isn't he, LeBonge? And the play out of that timeout was interesting because it looked very Japanese to me, in the sense that rather than having a player and a specific reset, you've got that stack set up slightly diagonally, and you're looking for the break to the front of stack coming through, either with the little inside shot or with that around break.
I do love that play because people never expect a cut from the front of the stack.
Because, I mean, in a lot of Western Ultimate, it's, cuts from the back, and you only activate that reset a bit higher into the stall count. But especially off a timeout where the stall count might be a bit higher, you've got a big inside-out channel to work with as well.
So nice curling pull. This one's going to stay in, but bounced out, so will be brought to the front of the end zone by Frötsche.
Seems like he's still got a little bit of energy, jogging it to the front of the line.
Yeah, well, not long left now, might as well. We've got a long lunch break after this game. Oh, and immediately opens up for the big huck. He's going to have a lot of contention. It's hanging and batted away by Bendix there.
Yeah, the wind and the people underneath, causing a little bit of maelstrom and traffic there. But man down come out on top.
And waste no time in putting another score in the hands of Matt Schaff.
Extending their lead till 10-3 now. So there we are, Hooter for 5 minutes left. I don't remember hearing that earlier, so evidently they have upped the Hooter game.
They've taken all the money that they got from the beers yesterday and they've put it into a new Hooter.
I mean, I must admit the fact that the TD desk also doubles as the bar, it's not a bad innovation, I think.
It's a genius idea, absolutely genius.
I mean, especially here, where you've got the big lunch break and the weather's scorching hot and you're on the beach and
local Sardinian beer.
I must say I've enjoyed the few that we have shared.
So we've got a disc to no one. I think Fritz had made a fake to the break side and was going to come back, but man down again. This very quick turn, fast offense. And another quick score, this time to Kevin Reardon. And man down just really running away with it at this point.
Yeah, the middle part of the game, it felt a little bit like it was getting a bit agricultural. The points are a bit grindy. There wasn't that flow. And then kind of as the game's gone on a little bit, it likes man down have found that extra gear that they had at the start of the game, and they're kicking it up a little bit now, and it seems like they're keen to get into their lunch break nice and early here. They've just, they found the form that deserted them in the middle period.
They heard us talking about beer.
Yeah, I mean, enough people, enough pitch time. Sometimes it can be tricky bringing a bigger roster into a tournament, but especially for beach, having as many fresh legs as possible, generally a good idea.
And another very hard pull to catch, but it has once again rolled out of the back or bounced out of the back of the end zone. Frötsche once again jogging it to the front end zone line. Man down sticking with a kind of poachy, oh no, it is a zone, not a poachy man. Frötsche has been dumped back to, doesn't have a swing. Looking down the IO channel, but manages to sneak it up the sideline to Podorski.
Yeah, the defender on this wing was just caught peeking in the backfield a little bit. Really nicely tracked catch there by Frötsche. Yeah,
those swings across the pitch just are so dangerous, and that's well received by Kukul, who gets it off to Podorski, back to Frötsche, who looks deep. It's going to be a little bit of contention for it, but well taken under quite a lot of contact by Flans.
I mean, that was spicy, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Lacrosse trying desperately to crawl it away, but full credit to Flans, who did very well to bring it down under tight pressure and tight coverage from man down.
And hopefully this will be a little bit of a shot in the arm for Gaul, meaning they can, galvanise themselves or galvanise themselves.
I think you did what I did, like you said it in those last. Oh, there's a pun there. Yeah, and the game might be out of reach for them, but if you can string some float, get some turns, string some flow together, it's a nice confidence booster going into your games this afternoon and in the rest of the tournament.
So we'll see the D coming out, not a Frötsche flick pull this time, but it's a A floater that's going to land in bounds.
Wow, what a pull, because I thought the wind was going to push that out for a brick. But
So did I. So man down in their inside their own end zone, just managing to sneak it out now. Lots of quick movement, deep cut goes. It's still going. Oh, fake to come back under. And there it is. Excellently taken. Just a very big stride bringing him across the tape there. And that is Reardon for man down with the score.
Brilliant offense, because they looked flustered at times at the start of the point, and then they kind of got into their rhythm. Reardon was just shuttling back and forth, continually keeping that deep defender occupied and tiring him out, and in the end just lovely flow down the open side, lead passes to run onto. And it's so nice when you get that lead pass looking forward, because you're catching it and already you're seeing where the cuts have developed. You've got it, you can get it out of the hands quickly, you're keeping that average time of possession low, and man down score to make it 12-4, and the cap is on, but doesn't matter anyway because it will be game to 13.
I think Reardon really wanted that deep cut. He'd already been brought under once. He wasn't gonna do so again.
Make me do less work. It's a selfless task really, because it can be, pretty thankless just trying to tire someone out and letting other people move the disc. So it's nice when you get the reward with the score at the end.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's something slightly disappointing about making really good deep cuts and then the handlers just kind of weave it into the end zone on their own.
Yeah, even if you've done a good job by occupying defenders, moving them about, whatever, it's like, oh dear, just didn't even get a sniff.
So the disc sailing out of bounds again. I really think they are just trying to tire Frutschel out, who is one of the main handlers for this Gaul team, as he stomps across the sand to retrieve the pink Eurodisc.
I mean, I see exactly what they're going for, but I don't think it is necessarily to tire him out. But I think if they're going for that blading backhand, you should probably put it right from the far side of that end zone, because it gives it the best chance of landing in bounds. But it's like with those flick balls we've seen from Gaul, is that they can come in at quite an acute angle. They come in very fast, and they are a nightmare to catch. And so it's either catch it and risk the drop ball, or just let it bounce and then potentially get the defense a chance to set on the awkward bounce.
Especially if it's deep in the end zone, it's very dangerous. But some nice handler movement here. Oh, and some very lovely flow from Gaul, knocking on their end zone door. Slightly congested, lots of people filtering through. Dumps back. It's looking slightly frantic, or maybe I'm just feeling a bit frantic. And losing quite a few yards with that, but they've reset the stall. Flants to Disler. Sorry, to Müller. And Müller shoots into the end zone, and despite a diving Lebonge, it is reeled in by, I believe that's Damley, with a big smile on his face. Lebonge throws a little bit of sand away from him in disgust at not being able to get that D.
There we go from Gaul. Maybe it's too little too late, but it's the fact that they've found a little bit of rhythm now is good. And you mentioned that they lost quite a lot of field position on that big dump that floated, and it was a good adjustment from Flants, I think, to catch it. But on the beach where the pitches are smaller, I don't think you should be any time.
Yeah, giving yourself space is absolutely crucial.
And especially because if you go backwards, sometimes then all of a sudden you've got the deep shot available again.
True. We've got Iwasco faking. Oh, well taken by Fletcher. Nice upfield shot to Schaff. Oh, puts up a floaty one, and it's not going to be able to be reeled in by anyone on either team.
Yeah, Reardon, I think, lost sight of it for a brief second, but even if he had seen it, it would have been a very difficult catch to make.
Nice shot to Damley. Oh, so it was Michela who caught the previous goal. Sorry, yes. Fritz. Oh, incredible diving catch by the number 24, Disler. Up the line cut is just too far. I think he was trying to put it out in front as he was being quite well defended, but downwind, it's always going to be slightly too far out in front than you mean. Man down on the end zone line. Going to ground. Fakes to bring him under. Goes up to get it. There's a deep cut going, fakes to bring under. Iwasco coming back for the dump, but not needed. Working it up the pitch, not as fast as we've seen them do in previous points, but still some excellent flow. And there's going to be a call. Oh, immediately dumps back and caught on the second attempt by Stewart. Dumping backwards. Looking very calm. They're not trying to force anything, not trying to rush anything, just waiting for the opportunities to present themselves. Nice open shot to Iwasco. Oh, and a nice round swing, but it's going to be too low to the ground for Stewart. So Fritz picking up. He's got a nice inside shot to Damli. Damli going deep, and Fritz is putting on a boost, but gets it under. Oh, doesn't get it under actually. So man down, picking up immediately, looking to get it going. Oh, nice D attempt, but man down still in possession. Oh, nice round shot. There's a, oh.
I'm not sure what happened there, because I didn't see who he was throwing to. Maybe he was trying to wind up for a deep hit, or maybe he was just faking, and the disc got free.
The disc got free, yeah, free from his clutches. And I think there's a little bit of, or rather quite a lot of fatigue probably for both these teams.
Just feels like it's the end of the game, doesn't
yeah,
it?
wanting to get it over with, putting these deep shots which aren't necessarily as accurate as the throwers would have liked. But that's a nice shot from Iwasco. It's floating, but reeled in by Reardon. So on the downwind sideline, Iwasco. Lovely inside shot across the pitch, and immediate breakside continuation. He's gotten up the line, but would have to break the force to do it. Goes to ground to receive it, knocking on the end zone door, and potentially a travel or a violation call.
I think he's suggesting perhaps the disc was down.
Oh, okay.
See it again on the replay. My instinct is that it was up, but evidently the player stopped because he thought it was down, and you know he's right there. So
yeah, I think I did hear him say down. So we can have a look on the replay here. We've got a teammate on the Gaul side saying it was up. He's not yet been asked for his opinion, but he has one.
We're seeing it now on the replay. It's a little bit lower than obviously the throw would have liked.
I think it's been contested and is going back to Schaff. Obviously the player nearest the play should have the best perspective.
Now disc checked in.
So we've got Fletcher on the disc, lovely round, just centimetres away, and just a little dish off to Kevin Reardon, and that is the score and the game. 2-man down.
Man down played really well throughout the game. Gaul, they kept at it, and it was just all too inconsistent for them. It came in fits and starts, and yeah, generally man down, I think, good value for that lead. On that last point, I was just thinking that Iwasco's throws, they've got such touch on them.
It's always difficult, especially if you have a way of doing things, to come together. There is now a long break, so we will see you at 3:30 for the Young Legends versus Borderline. That's one you do not want to miss.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Alti.tv